Hello and welcome. You're here because you want to understand a bit more about preventing heart blockage, right?
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to dig into today. We've sifted through the info we have, really aiming to, extract the practical stuff, what you can actually do.
That's the key, isn't it? Tangible actions,
Yeah.
making a real difference to your risk level.
Okay, so the source material we looked at, it essentially just asks the question, how to prevent heart blockage, straight up.
Mhm.
Now, it doesn't give us like a neat checklist or anything, but it definitely makes you think about the main strategies, the ones generally recognized in, well, heart health.
Absolutely. And even without those specific directives right in front of us in this text, the question itself points us squarely at the established principles.
Mm.
It's kind of interesting how just asking opens that door.
So the details aren't maybe spelled out here, but we can lean on what's widely understood about cardiovascular health. When we think prevention, preventing blockage, what usually comes up? What do experts focus on?
Well, if you link it to the broader science, yeah, prevention always circles back to managing those key risk factors. It's about, things like a balanced diet, lots of fruits, vegetables,
Mhm.
getting regular physical activity. And it doesn't have to be intense. Even moderate exercise helps.
Right.
Staying away from tobacco, obviously, all forms. And then actively managing things like high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes if you have them.
Those are definitely the big ones, the cornerstones we hear about all the time.
Yeah.
So our source, even though it's brief, it sort of nudges us towards these really crucial, well-known areas.
Exactly. It's almost like the question itself is a trigger, a prompt to remember this essential knowledge.
Yeah, like the lack of super specific details in this particular text just reinforces how vital those basics really are.
Precisely. It suggests maybe that nailing those fundamentals is the critical first step. If you want to understand how to cut down your risk of heart blockage, start there.
Which is actually quite interesting, isn't it? Without a detailed guide right here, just asking how forces us to look at those lifestyle changes everyone talks about.
Mm.
And the importance of talking to doctors, managing existing conditions.
And that brings up a good point for everyone listening, really. How consistently are these basic heart-healthy habits part of your daily life?
Yeah.
The bluntness of the question in our source, it's a pretty strong reminder about how much these core actions matter.
So practically speaking, then, what's the takeaway? Even starting with just this focused question.
Well, I think the main point is that preventing heart blockage isn't really about finding some hidden secret.
Right, it's not magic.
No, it's much more about the day in, day out commitment, sticking to those well-known pillars of a healthy lifestyle.
And actively managing risks with your doctor,
Yeah.
that partnership piece.
Exactly that. So while this deep dive, didn't uncover extensive specifics from this text, it did let us hammer home that the foundation of prevention really lies in those fundamental principles.
Hmm.
Maintenance.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The key preventative strategies we've touched on, sparked by that simple question in our source, they're really rooted in healthy living choices
Lifestyle, yeah.
and being proactive about managing your personal risk factors. So, for you, the listener, maybe take a second to think about how these big, vital areas connect with your own life.
hmm What small changes could you maybe consider?
Yeah, this deep dive gives that starting point, that initial framework based on the text we had, but your journey towards heart health, well, that's ongoing. There's always more to learn, right?
Right.